Friday. The weekend is here. I don't know about y'all, but I could not be happier. Glad the week is over. Looking forward to this holiday weekend. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. We got some good stuff to get into today. So let's kind of go over the topics we're going to be talking about in tonight's live. It's not going to be a long one, but there has been some stuff going on that we definitely want to touch base on. We're going to be talking about James Vanderbeek. He's better known as Dawson Leary from Dawson's Creek. This was a show that was huge in the 90s. Unfortunately, he's passed away, so we got to talk about that. We also got to talk about Lead Attorney, a fellow YouTuber. He's dropped some receipts. He's having a little back and forth with Corey Holcomb, who's a comedian and another YouTuber. So, we got to get into that. That was dominating my feed. Everybody's talking about that. We got Don Lemon, former CNN anchor, now independent journalist. He was in court for his recent arrest that he had when federal agents took him into custody for the protest that happened in Minnesota. And then we're going to be talking about Todd and Kandi Burris. After the Love Is Gone should have been the title for this, because their divorce is just getting so bitter and so nasty. So we got to get into it, because that's what we do. And if you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose. And here on Aries Rose TV, we like to talk about streaming shows, movies, TV shows, world news, local news, politics, celebrity news. Basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. If you like talking a little bit about everything, this is the perfect channel for you. We'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. All you got to do is hit that subscription button and then hit that notification bell and select all, so you can find out every time I go live, upload videos, post on the YouTube communities tab, all of that good stuff, so you never miss out on anything. So let's get into it. We got to talk about James Vanderbeek. He was only 48 years old and he passed away. Cause of death is not known at this time, but he did reveal a diagnosis for cancer. I want to say last year, maybe the year before that. So that could potentially be what ended up causing him to pass away. It's really sad to me because I'm hearing about so many young people. He's another one. Brad Arnold passed away, I want to say maybe a week or so ago, and he was the lead singer for Three Doors Down, and he also had cancer as well. Chadwick Boseman passed away in 2020. He had cancer. So a lot of young people experiencing that. It's really scary to me. And of course, the closer to the age that you are to somebody who passes away, the more it makes you think about that. So if you have not already done so, definitely go get your checkups, especially the older you get. Go get those. Sometimes what you need to get tests on and things you need to get checked change as you get older. Look up on Google. If you have a doctor that you trust, make sure you check in with them for things that you should be looking for. Sometimes you have to be your own advocate. A doctor is not always going to tell you everything that you need for whatever reason. So you can also go up and look at that information as well, because sometimes getting these testing, asking questions can help save your life. So the more information you know, the better off you're going to be. So I just highly encourage you to take your health seriously, look into that, get those tests, go get those checkups, because that could make all the difference of whether or not you are here for your family. And my heart goes out to his children. I believe he had 6 children, and to his wife and to his family and friends who are going to be impacted by his passing. 48 is just way, way too young to be losing your life. Let me know if you watched Dawson's Creek, if you were a fan. I mean, that show was so huge. I can't remember if that came on UPN or the WB. If you remember, it was so long ago. Let me know in the comments. But I know when that show came out, it was so huge, as well as that theme song just catapulted. I kept hearing it in my head as soon as I had heard that he passed. All I kept hearing was the theme song. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. And that was just playing over and over in my head, because that song is like an earworm. So, I mean, it's a great memory that I attached to that show and to this individual. I also really liked him in Varsity Blues. Let me know if you guys saw that movie. I want to say that came out in like the late 90s, and it also starred Paul Walker. So, I mean, he was really on his way. He was one of the standouts in the show. I never really heard too much about him. I don't think he got into too much controversy, because he really hardly ever came up. At least it wasn't big enough that it's something that I remember. So I definitely give him kudos for being a young child star and being able to transition into an adult and, live a relatively good life here. Let's see what information we got on his passing from TMZ. But let me know, did you watch Dawson's Creek? Were you a fan? What show or movie did you like James Vanderbeek in? And let's see. His looks like his GoFundMe has raised over $1 million. So definitely helps to have a well-known name, because that GoFundMe can spread really fast when people know who you are to help build that up, because it looks like his family's going to have expenses from medical costs that they're going to need to cover, and maybe he was the breadwinner for the family. Let's see what TMZ has to say about his passing. A rep for the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office in Texas says it was reported to them his passing at 6:44 a.m. His wife, Kimberly Vanderbeek, posted about his passing shortly after TMZ broke the news, writing in a shared Instagram post here, quote, "Our beloved James David Vanderbeek passed peacefully this morning. He met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. There's so much to share regarding his wishes, love for humanity, and the sacredness of time. Those days will come. For now, for peaceful we ask for peaceful privacy as we grieve our loving husband, father, son, friend, and brother," end quote. And it looks like James Vanderbeek, this is more reporting from TMZ, got emotional while discussing his cancer battle on Good Morning America in 2024, especially when he mentioned everything his wife had done for him since he had been diagnosed. That's wonderful. He was supposed to join his fellow Dawson's Creek castmates in September, but he was forced to drop out of the reunion for health reasons. He ended up making a surprise virtual appearance, including Lin-Manuel Miranda, who read lines in his place. James didn't sulk in his last few months of life either. He even said cancer was the best thing that ever happened to him in December 2025, because it encouraged him to live a healthy, more religious life. May he rest in peace. Very, very sad news. Let me know your thoughts of that in the comments, and we're going to move right along to our next story here about Mr. Don Lemon. So he was a former CNN anchor, and then he was let go from that position, and he has since become an independent journalist. So he is here on YouTube, and his name began to circulate here when he was attending a protest as a journalist that took place in a church down in Minneapolis, with this whole situation that was going on with ICE being there. And so these protesters were going in there because allegedly one of the pastors or ministers of that church has a position with ICE. So they were going to protest that. And this particular individual they were looking for was not in the church, but they still continued with this protest. And Don was there, and he did end up interviewing, I want to say, the minister that was there, and then maybe some other people. But because he was there and he was, I want to say, maybe live streaming it or put out about that protest, he ended up being arrested by federal agents here, and he doesn't believe he did anything wrong. This is a violation of his First Amendment rights, and that he was just being targeted because he is not a supporter of Trump. So, there were people that definitely agreed and felt like that was overreach, and that they were just targeting him because he had an anti-ICE message and has been critical of President Trump. So we're going to get into it because he went into court today and has pled not guilty to those charges. We're going to take a little pause here for comments. Maxi Lopez, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Alicia, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure you like the video as you come in. It's a free way to support the channel. It helps with the algorithm so we can get more eyes on our live and on the channel. Much appreciated. Free way to support the channel. And let's get into this as being reported by TMZ from what took place in court today. Don Lemon's not going down without a fight because he's fighting the federal criminal charges against him in Minnesota. The former CNN anchor just pleaded not guilty to the charges against him, one count of conspiracy against the right of religious freedom at a place of worship, and one count of injuring, intimidating, and interfering with the exercise of the right of religious freedom in a place of worship. Outside the courthouse, Don first thanked his friends and supporters, then got defiant against the Trump administration, speaking up for journalism and the First Amendment. And he promised to keep fighting for himself and the people of Minnesota, dealing with the ongoing federal immigration surge in the state. Don was in court in St. Paul on Friday for his arraignment when he entered his plea. The charges stem from Don's coverage of an anti-ICE protest last month at a Minnesota church. Don said he was there covering the event as a journalist, but the Fed said he was there as a collaborator in the protest. Don was arrested by federal agents earlier this month in Los Angeles when he was there to cover the Grammys. They ended up arresting him in the hotel there, and that became a huge story. I think he was out the following day. Maybe he was in there for a few hours and was out the following day, but this is at least one of the first times I've ever heard of this happening, especially for Don Lemon. So we will be following this story to see how it plays out. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's overreach that he was arrested for? Do you think he was there as part of the protest or just there as a journalist? Let's keep that conversation going here in the comments. And now we're going to go into our next story that we are covering for today. And this one is going to involve two people. So Corey Holcomb, he is a comedian, and Corey Holcomb has a 5150 show that's here on YouTube. So you can catch it. I believe it comes on Tuesday nights, and he has kind of a panel on there. So Darlene Ortiz, who is the former wife and mother to the son of Ice-T, well-known rapper, has been around for a very, very, very long time. Ice-T is now married to Coco, and he has a child with her. So he's moved on in his life, and I'm sure Darlene has done the same. You don't really hear too much about what she may have going on as far as relationships-wise, but that's her connection kind of to the industry. And then he's got another person on his show, Craig. I'm not familiar with him other than being on Corey's show. And Corey Holcomb has done comedy. I've seen him on TV. I know for sure he was on Half and Half. I know he had a couple guest star appearances on that show. He may have done some other shows and movies as well, but mainly I know him from the 5150 show that's been here on YouTube. Earlier this year, he had on another YouTuber, Anton Daniels, and that conversation went left. And those two almost came to blows. To get caught up on that, you can check out the short that I did on those two having their interview together and how bad that went. Well, that seemed to open up the door to, I don't know what is going on right now, but Corey is in this kind of him against the world stage right now. And so pretty much anybody who's had any commentary on him or said anything, or at least what he perceives to be negative, he's kind of been attacking them and making comments about them on his show. And there's a lot of people on here that have done videos about the situation between Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels because it gets views. It's stuff people are talking about. They are both popular on YouTube. Their channels and their videos get a lot of traction. So, there's obviously an interest in these two. So people are going to cover what people are looking for, what they're interested in. He understands that because, that's what Corey does on his show too. If there's major topics, major stars that are being discussed, he's going to bring it up and give his Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Leave a 1 if you can hear me, or a 2 if you can't hear me. Leave a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, or a 2 if you can't hear me. All right, so if you can hear me, I'm going to keep it going. So he dropped receipts on having a conversation with Corey Holcomb's attorney, that it did state on there that he had cleared it with Corey to be able to talk to the lead attorney and to go onto his show. So he showed the different conversations that the two had, narrowing down a time when they were going to have this interview on the show. And it was there in black and white. Now, I mean, I didn't personally go to his office and see these, but he did post them up on his YouTube while he was doing his live. And again, he's always come off as reputable, so I have no reason to believe that he would have fabricated those emails. I fully believe he had this conversation with Corey Holcomb's attorney. And now the question is, because Corey Holcomb was calling him a liar, saying he never gave authorization, did your attorney lie to the lead attorney saying that you cleared it? Or did you, in fact, give your attorney authorization? Because now the ball is in Corey's court. Now you need to prove that you did not give authorization to your lawyer, because lead attorney has now proven he is not a liar and that he, in fact, only stated what he knew to be true based on what was presented in black and white. From what I do know about attorneys, and I am not an attorney or licensed to practice law anywhere, but from what I do know, attorneys who care about their reputation and who care about not being disbarred in their license would not lie. So I'm going to hope that the attorney that Corey secured was not lying on him when he said that he had given him authorization. It's maybe Corey forgot, maybe he didn't realize what he was asking for was in relation to lead attorney. Maybe lead attorney saying Corey gave me authorization confused him because lead attorney didn't talk to him directly, but the lead attorney is referring to you being the only person who can give authorization to your attorney. So if your attorney is saying that you cleared it, then that means you did give me clearance, indirectly, even if you didn't say it to me directly. You telling him it's okay is the same thing. I don't know. But I'm definitely following this story. Lead attorney said he's never dropped receipts before in his 5 years of being on YouTube. So that just lets me know he was pretty upset. And I can respect that. If your reputation's in question, you definitely want to make sure you at least set the record straight, because that can impact how people see you or your reputability and your credibility. So it's a big thing when your brand is built off your name and people believing in what you say, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Corey Holcomb's crash out? I mean, I like him. I watch the show occasionally. I don't watch it regularly, but it is pretty sad to see what he's going through right now. He said he's been losing gigs after TMZ dropped video of him having some sort of physical altercation interaction with the woman Christina Payne. Whether he mushed her, hit her, all of that's up for debate, but nonetheless, it appears he touched her in some form or fashion. And that's what that video from TMZ exposed. And he said he's lost gigs behind it, that they've told him that the optics of it don't look good. So definitely following this. Very sad, though. I'm sure this is not the start to 2026 Corey Holcomb expected, but lead attorney definitely cleared his name. So I know he's happy. I've seen so many videos talking about, well, he's showing he's telling the truth. Now we're going to see what Corey has to say about that on Tuesday. And you can get your updates on here, Aries Rose TV. So make sure you're following the channel, because we will let you know if anything else comes out, so you can stay on top of the story with us. And now we're going to go over to one of my favorite couples from Real Housewives of Atlanta. So this is Todd and Kandi Burris. And they are now going through a divorce. These two met on ROHA, and they had a pretty fairy tale love story. And it kind of blossomed, I think, when the group went on a trip to Africa. And he used to be a part of the crew for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the production crew. And then when he and Kandi got serious, he left being a part of the production crew so he could openly have this relationship with her. And they've had that love documented through the show. And I know Kandi's no longer on it, but a good chunk of their relationship was documented through that show, including their wedding. When they went to get married, it was very famously and well known that Kandi had Todd sign a prenuptial agreement. And at the time it was happening, because I did watch that show, their marriage special, at the time that they were getting married. And I remember watching it thinking, I I think Todd is just signing this, but I could see this coming back someday if this marriage does not last. Because you could tell he really didn't want to, and he was kind of like not with it. But she was like, "We're not getting married until you sign this," and he ultimately ended up signing it. But I just always got the vibe he didn't really want to sign it. And, that definitely has come back because he has contested the prenuptial agreement in their divorce. Because it looked like in the beginning when Kandi announced it, they were going to try and make it smooth. You probably weren't going to hear too much, just treating it like a conscious uncoupling type of thing. Like they just want to make it amiable. And looks like Todd is not going out without some money, and he's not going to make this easy for Kandi. And I'm not mad at that. I kind of look at Todd, although some people are saying, he's a man. He should be standing on his own 2 feet. He shouldn't be living off of Kandi's money. He should have done something for himself. And everything he's doing right now is just trying to take advantage of her. I don't know. I'm not sure how I would feel. Now, granted, I'm not in Kandi's position, so I'm looking at this as a person who's not going to be touched one way or another, and my money won't be touched one way or another based on what happens with this. But I do have to say, if the roles were reversed and Todd's story was being told, but he was a woman and Kandi was the man, we would be all about him getting his money. We wouldn't even be questioning it. We would say, well, you were there. You helped build this family. You helped do things that allowed this other person to be able to go out and make the money that they're doing. A support system. That's what you do as a couple. That's what you do as a family. You help each other out. You help each other to build, and you're supposed to be able to reap the benefits of that. So I'm kind of not mad at Todd about this. I feel like it's just being looked at differently because he's a man, but by principle, if we would do the same if it was a woman and feel that it's owed to that person, then I don't think it should be any different because he's not a woman. But I'm very curious, what are your thoughts? Do you think he is owed any support here? Do you think he should still be able to still live in Kandi's home? Because she's saying he is not paying rent or anything towards the bills. He is just squatting in her guest house. So we're going to get into these details here that is being reported by TMZ. So it says Kandi Burr slams Todd Tucker as guest house squatter. Kandi Burr says her estranged husband, Todd Tucker, is living rent-free in her guest house amid their bitter divorce and not paying a dime in rent, TMZ has learned. According to new court docs obtained by TMZ, the RHOA alum slammed Todd for not contributing financially to the home and the care of their kids as they continue to fight over custody and support. Kandi says since they separated, Todd's been living in her guest house in Atlanta, which she says is her own property purchased before the marriage. And Doc, she says Todd hasn't paid a single expense for maintenance, upkeep of the home, to include utilities, gas, lawn care, water, pest control, or even fees associated with the alarm system. That's wild. I don't know. I thought Todd made a little bit of money. So if that is true, I think that's crazy. He's not paying a little bit, if not half, maybe a little something, something. But we're definitely going to be following this story. So we'll keep you updated with any other information we find out. We got to sign off for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody that's helped us get as far as we have. I really love doing YouTube, and I absolutely love coming on and talking with my community. So I really appreciate you helping to make this goal and dream come true. Share this live out with family and friends. Helps to get more eyes on the channel so we can continue to grow and bring you the good news, that little gossipy news, some updates on the world stuff, because we just like to have a little bit of fun over here and see what's going on in other people's lives. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you later. Thank you so much for watching.